Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about migrating an application from on-premise or wherever the application is to AWS. We're going to use AWS application migration service. So the MGN going to enable us to migrate our application or our server from on-premise or wherever the server is to AWS, right? Uh, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a Jenkins server and I'm going to use DigitalOcean. As you guys can see, I'm already logged in. So I'm going to go and create a goblet. These are very cheaper. They are very cheap. I'm going to select CentOS. I'm going to take CentOS 7. And I'm going to take the regular one. And let's take 2 gigs and 1 CPU. Or let's take 2 gigs and 2 CPUs right there. I'm gonna put some password and the tag. Let's name it Jenkins. The host name, let's name it Jenkins Server. And we click on create goblet. While it is creating a goblet, I'm gonna I'm gonna post the link. I'm gonna go to Jenkins.io. And I'm going to go to documentation. I'm going to go to install Jenkins. I'm going to look for Linux and I'm going to look for Red Hat. CentOS and Red Hat have similar flavors, sorry. So while I'm doing that, I'm also going to open a terminal that I'm going to bring here. Let me put both side by side. I'm going to put both side by side. So I'm going to go back to wire and see if the is ready. Okay, it is ready. So I'm going to take my public IP address. I'm going to come to the terminal. I'm going to do SSH root at with DigitalOcean. You log in as root and you put the IP. Yes. I'm going to put the password. Okay, I'm logged in. I'm going to clear everything. So now I'm going to install Jenkins so that this server can be my Jenkins server. And to do that, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy this, paste it. It's going to see that there's no wget, so we need to install get. We're going to do yum install wget, sorry, -y. Let me see. Yes, it seems that there's a process using the yum, but that's fine. Let me clear it again and try again and see what process. Sorry. Let me clear it. Let's see, the process ID is 2005. So I'm gonna kill it. Kill -f. I want 5. I want it now. 2005. So I'm gonna try again to install wget. So this is another debugging, right? When you have an issue like the yum is locked by a process, you can stop the process or kill the process, right? I just kill it ungracefully, but you can kill it gracefully. But that's not today. Okay, let's wait for the wget to get ready and to be installed. So it may take a little bit of time. I'm gonna pause the video and come back when it's ready. Now it is done installing wget. So I'm gonna come back again. You can put this one is a bash script, but I'm gonna do it like this. Run it. And now I'm gonna run this. Oh, sorry. Let me copy all. I also noticed that we also need to install Java. I'm going to install Java 11 first. So this is the command for Java 11. I'm also going to remove this. You guys see right here that 2023. I'm gonna import both. This one. This is the command. It's not here. So I'm gonna do the yam upgrade now. -y in case. So it may take a little bit of time to upgrade the server. So I'm going to pause the video and resume when all the upgrade is done. So it is done updating. So I'm going upgrading, sorry. So I'm going to go with the next steps by adding all the dependencies. And I'm going to install Jenkins itself, -y. And I'm going to reload daemons. Now I'm going to do system ctl enable. So I'm going to enable Jenkins and start it at the same time. Enable Jenkins and hyphen now. Hyphen now is to start uh, Jenkins as now. So let's give it a little bit of time and resume when it's done. So it is enabled and started. And to check it, we're going to do our system ctl status Jenkins. And we can see that it is active. And if you look over here, you're going to see that it's unable. So our Jenkins server is ready. So let's come over here and pick the IP address. We don't need this one anymore. I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm going to put 8080. So to have the initial password, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do cut over here on the CLI and paste it. And this is my initial Jenkins password. I'm going to paste it and I'm going to install suggested plugins just to make sure that you understand what is going on. We just have any application though. Jenkins is just an example of a application that we're going to migrate to AWS. So it can be any application. It can be a lamb stack, it can be a lamb stack, it can be whatever, right? So don't stuck on get focused on Jenkins. It's any application. The goal is to migrate everything that we have in this server to AWS. So let's wait for Jenkins to be ready, and I'm going to pause the video again. So our Jenkins is getting ready. What we're going to do next is we're going to add admin as a password, as a username, and also as a password, right? You're going to confirm it. I'm gonna put admin, and I'm gonna put admin at admin.com as email, right? Uh, what I'm gonna do next is save and continue. So I'm gonna save and finish. So I have a Jenkins right now. I'm just gonna create a new job. I'm gonna go to new item. I'm gonna do test one. It's gonna be a pipeline. I'm gonna press OK. So I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna go to, this is the general one. This is a build trigger. Let's leave it like that. I'm going to go to pipeline, and I'm going to select pipeline stream from SCM, right? And I'm going to select gate. So it's going to ask for my, I'm going to put one, let me put one template. Thinking of it is going to take too much time, so it's not, we are not focusing on Jenkins today. So I'm going to come back over here to test one, and I'm just going to do something. I'm going to go to configure, and I'm just going to run a script, right? Let's go. We're going to just try this hello world script. We're going to apply it and save it, and let's run it. You can have whatever right there, so it's not really important. I'm going to come over here, console output. We see that we have one job, right, done, and it passed, right? So let's leave it like this. So we have our application or our server ready, right? So now we need to do the migration from on-premise or wherever we have our server to AWS. And to do that, I'm going to go to AWS. Let me make this one bigger. You log in and all that. And on the search, we're going to do MGN. And you're going to see AWS application migration service. Sorry for the voice. I'm not feeling well. So you're going to click on get started. You're going to set up services. And let's change the region, right? I'm going to take US East 2, just like that. So I have everything right there. So I want to add a server. I want to add the DigitalOcean server, right? So I'm going to click on add server. But before, it's going to be a Linux, right? And I'm going to need this AWS key and AWS access key. What I'm going to do is that I already have my keys, and if you don't know how to have them, yes, what you can do, you can log into AWS again. and we're going to go to I am right here. We can create a user. I'm going to call it AWS MG. We're going to click on next. I'm going to add it to the group having admin access. Next, create user. So I do have my user right here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click on my user. I'm going to go to security credentials. And over here, I'm going to click on create access key on the access keys. Okay. So you click on it. And what we want is not the command line interface. What we want is what? Is we want to run application running outside AWS. So this is the one we're going to use, right? And we're going to click on next. You can put a tag value if you want. I'm just going to leave it blank. So I'm going to click on create access key, right? So I do have my access key and I do have my secret access key right here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click over here and I'm going to go to AWS. One thing I want is that you can select, if you have a Windows, you can select a Windows right here, but I have a Linux and I would like to replicate all disks, right? All my disks. So I'm going to put the access key here and I'm going to put the secret access key, right here. We don't need a token and everything else is just optional, right? So we're going to go to download and the installer using this command, right? And if you look at the command, you're going to see that it's just to download and we're going to download it over here. Let me clear this. We have to download the installer into our target in our target server. So that's going to be our Jenkins server. So if I do ls, you're going to see it right here. So now it's time to run some installation, right? We're going to install an agent that's going to communicate with the replication agent. Oh, sorry. Let me copy it again and paste it. And if you see, this is our access key and this is our secret. So we press enter. So what it's going to do is that it's going to install AWS agent and start it. And if we come over here on AWS, we go to EC2. And we wait, we're going to see a agent starting right here. Just make sure that you have the proper region right here. You go to the proper region if you are using a US East 1, US East 2, and so on. So you guys can see our replication agent detected 2 volumes, right? And if you see right here, we have our volumes right here. Where can we see our volumes? This is for adding volume. Okay, anyway, we have our volumes on this server. Okay, right here, you're going to see that we have this volume, right? And our replication agent detected them. So it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to come back right here and refresh this. And let's give it a little bit of time for the replication agent to start and for the agent to communicate with our target server. Let's pause it and come back. So after eternity, he was able to successfully install the AWS replication agent, right? And over here, we don't see anything yet, but let's go back to wire and let's click on, let me make this one bigger. Let's click over here. We're going to see that we have a new server wire, and the status the alert set is healthy, and it is on the initialization step, right? And if you click on the server, we're going to see that the server is the active server source server is not ready yet. So let's give it a time for all this to be green. Then we're going to go to the next step. I'm going to pause the video. And by the way, this takes long. It's not 5 minutes stuff. It can take like 30 minutes only to see the server, the source server wire. Okay, so be patient. As you guys can see, we're starting having some drains. So let's give a little bit of time for the replication to keep moving forward. And these are the replication initialization steps. Okay, these are the steps. So let's pause the video again and come back when it is moving forward. By the way, while it is doing the initialization, if we come back over here, we're going to see that we have a replication service wire. We're going to have a server that's going to do the connection between AWS and our on-premise servers. So this is kind of like a replication agent. So it's normal to have this server, and it is initialization. It is on the initializing step. Sorry, yeah, my voice. As you guys can see, we are making some progress. We have the replication server. This is the replication server. And we have the replication agent. It is the one we install. Right, this is the replication agent. And this is our replication server. So it start doing data transfer. So it started doing data transfer. So we're gonna wait a little bit. And if you want to see like more detail about what is going on, you can go to CloudTrail. Okay, we are good. The replication has started. So why now? We are doing some replication. What it says 3 hours left. So I'm going to pause the video and come back after 3 hours. But before I pause the video, I want to show you something. If you want to see what is happening, you can click on AWS Cloud Trade Event. You can see all the events. And if you want to know what is happening, you can click on the event and you're going to see all the details. But I don't want it. So I'm going to be back in 3 hours. Oof, after an eternity is almost there. Like, took like more than 2 hours. So, but as you can see in the life cycle, it's still saying not ready. So let's wait for it to be ready. We can go like this and I'm going to see that it's still working. Yeah, if you click on Jenkins, application is progress. So it's 100% almost there. And if we come here, we have the replication server, right? One thing I wanted to notice this. When you have the replication server, you're going to have a launch template because we want to create a server, right? And we want to take the server we have and have the same server on AWS. So we're going to have some launch template like what is the type of AMI, instance type, and so on, right? So this is one of the template that is by default. If you come here, you're going to see a replication template. This is for the replication. Basically, this is a template for the replication server. And this is going to be the template for our server, but it's not ready yet. So this is what our EC2, this is where we're going to put the configuration of our EC2. That is why you see this. It's going to be used right here. If you see this, you're going to see there's the same ID. So let's wait a little bit. So let's wait a little bit and let me check again just to make sure that nothing has changed. It's not ready yet, so we're gonna wait a little bit. Also, what I forgot to say is that if you come back here and you go to volume, you're gonna see that we have a volume for the replication. And if you go to snapshot, we're gonna see that we have some kind of snapshot. You can see all the volumes and all the snapshot. Everything is based on the migration, right? That's why you're going to see this AWS application migration service. And when we're going to be done with the migration, all of this is going to be deleted. So let's wait a little bit. Yeah, after more than 2 hours, it moved from not ready to ready for testing. So it says replication process, initial replication finished. So that means we are good. If I go back to the dashboard, I'm going to see this. If I go to server info, I can see all the info I want. If you want to change the launch template, you can change it right here. But as I said, when we're going to launch our Jenkins in AWS, it's going to use this launch template. You guys can see it's end with 05BCC. And if you come to launch template, you're going to see the same launch template right here. And you can see the details, right? It's going to launch a C5.x large. I'm going to leave it as default, but you can change it if you want. And the storage, you can change it as you want. It's going to use 60, but you can change it if you want to. And we're going to leave everything else the same. So now let's go back to wire. So if you do the migration, and since it's taking long, right? It's taking like hours. It's almost a day. So you can come back to server and you're going to see that over here is green, over here is green, and over here is going to be blue, saying ready for testing. I'm going to select my server, right? I'm going to come over here, test and cut over. I'm going to launch a test just to make sure that everything is working fine. So the test is going to create a Jenkins server with the replication, and I'm going to just to make sure that what I have on premise is exactly the same thing that I'm going to have on AWS. So I'm going to click on launch test template. You can read it, and I'm going to click on launch. It's going to, as I just click on launch test, you're going to see that it's going to move from ready for testing to test in progress, and you're going to see waiting. And if we come over here to our EC2, we cannot see it yet, but we're going to see that we have some server. We're going to have a server getting ready. So let's give it a little bit of time. But the server going to get ready for testing. So let's give it a little bit of time. While we are waiting for the testing, you can see over here, this is the job. If you click over here, you're going to have the info about the job that is going on. And you're going to see that it started taking like snapshot right here. So this is a job that is running right now. And let's refresh it. I'm not sure if the server is already ready. No, it's not ready. But if you come to snapshot and refresh it, you're going to see that there's a new snapshot like this one. The time is like it's like 2 minutes ago. So it's still on that stage, but let's give it a little bit of time. Or you can also click on view the job wire. It's going to bring you wire. So let's give it a little bit of time. The status say pending. Let's check again and see if we have we should have like a new server running. Let's and we can see the job logs wire. Use the previous snapshot, start the conversion. The conversion started. So let's go to okay. Let's come here. It is running. Let's go. We should see a new server. As you guys can see, we have a new server. And if you guys can see, we have M5 that large. It is coming from the launch template. It's coming from the launch template right here. And if we go to the launch template and click on it, you're going to see that we have it right here. Okay. Let me go back and go back to EC2. Let me go to my EC2 in the Iowa. And if you see, that server is gone because it was just for testing. And if we come over here, we're going to wait to see if the test was good or bad. So I'm going to pause the video and come back after we have the test result. By the way, I forgot to mention that if I click over here, you're going to see that the server is going to have the same name as our server. We name our server Jenkins Server. You're going to see the same name right here. So just to tell you that this is the test, and this is the test server, just to test to make sure that everything that we migrated is working fine. As you guys can see, this is uh, the launch template, and this is just to create the server, right? This is like a hub for our replication server. So let's keep waiting for the result. And I'm going to pause the video if you guys don't mind. As you guys can see, it moved to launch. First boot waiting. We can go to the EC2 and we're going to refresh. This is our test server. it should be exactly our premise or on premise or wherever we have our Jenkins or application server, right? It's going to be exactly the same thing, the replication. And we just have to wait. Everything should work the same, like username, password, everything. Everything should be the same as we log SSH to this server. It should be the same. It should be the same, like username, password, and so on. Only the host or the IP address gonna change. So let's wait a little bit for it to be ready, and we're gonna test it. And I'm just gonna. We don't have, as you guys can see, we don't have a public IP address. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna come to Elastic IP address, and I'm gonna allocate the IP address. After allocating, I'm going to attach this Elastic IP address to the Jenkins server. I'm going to click on it, Action, Associate, Elastic IP address. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to select the Jenkins server. And you can put the private IP address, but we don't care about it now. Now, if I go back to instance, I'm going to see that it's still initializing, but now we have a public IP address. I can click on it and paste it right here, and I'm going to put 8080. We may not see anything right now, but let's wait a little bit. Okay, you guys can see it's getting ready, almost there. Now I can put my username. When we created our Jenkins on premise, we put admin, and the password was admin. If I log in, I should see exactly everything I have in on-premise server. I should see it right here. And this is exactly everything. And if you guys can see the time, it was April 22, 11, 47. And if you come over here, you're going to see something similar right here. So we just replicated we just migrate our application, and this happened to be a Jenkins server, but it can be any application, to AWS, and we just did the testing to make sure that everything is working fine. So since everything is working fine, we can move to the next steps. Okay. By the way, I want to show you something else, right? I can take this IP address, and just to make sure that you understand what is happening, the credential I use to log in to on-premise server, I'm going to use the same credentials. I'm going to do SSH, root, add, but only the IP address is going to change. It's going to be this public IP address. Yes. And the password going to be the same password as the on-premise server. That is the beauty of this. As you guys can see, this is our migrated server, test server. It is fine. So now, let's go back right here, and let's wait a little bit for the test to be done. Let's be patient. As you guys can see, we have the action wire launch. And when the testing is done, complete testing and mark as ready for cut over. Testing is what? It's just what we just did. We made sure that we are able to access our application and that our application is working. We're going to access it through the URL and through the CLI. So both are working properly. So I'm going to come over here and follow these steps. Ready for the cut over. I'm going to come to test and cut over, and I'm going to mark it as ready for cut over. So what's going to happen is that this instance, this server going to be terminated because it was just for testing, right? It's going to be terminated. So now that we are ready for the cut over, we can go to test and cut over, and we can launch the cut over. We're going to launch it. Or we have some error. Let's wait a little bit. Let's click on this one. Let's close this and let's click again and test. And we're going to go to launch cut over. What's going to happen is that we're going to create our AWS server or instances, right? Or application. So I'm going to launch. Let's see what it's saying. Okay, I'm going to launch it. So it started and it's going to launch our final server. You're just going to have to wait a little bit. Let me pause the video. While we are waiting, if you click over here, you're going to see that we have a new, let me come over here. Sorry. Let's go to EC2. And if I click over here, we're going to see that we have a new replication server, right? And this server is just there to help the main replication server. So right now the task it is to create our on-premise server, and inside we should have our application running properly. So this one is no more, right? It's no more, it doesn't exist anymore. So we can close it. And over here it's going to say waiting. So let's wait a little bit. And this is the job ID for the cut over. We can click on the job ID and you're going to see what is happening. As you guys can see, the conversion started. It means we're going to need this server to do the conversion. And when the conversion is done, then we're going to have our our Jenkins server launched. Sorry. Let's pause the video. As you guys can see, the conversion is done. So our server, this server should be getting, okay, it's gone, right? If I click on server, you're going to see that we have a server that just get a stop, right? Or terminated. And we have a Jenkins server right here that is started. So as you guys can see, the events or the job logs, you're going to see that it started launching a cut over EC2 instance. Let's give it a little bit of time. So now let's refresh it and see if we have our server. Okay, our server is getting initialized. So let's go to dashboard and we're going to see that we have our Jenkins server getting initialized. And let's see over here, you're going to see successfully launch the cut over EC2 instance. The name Jenkins server. And this is the cut over instance ID D528. D528. Oh yeah, the same ID. Let's give it a little bit of time. Then we're gonna test our migrated server before closing everything. So our server is ready, but don't forget, okay, it's ready. But as you guys can see, there's no public IP address. So we need to give this server a public IP address. We can go to action, can go to networking, and it should be associate. I don't know what is associate. Let me try it again. I'm going to go to Jenkins, action, networking, maybe manage IP addresses. Okay, that's fine. We can go to elastic IP address, and we're going to select our elastic IP address, action, associate IP addresses, elastic IP addresses, and we're going to select the Jenkins server and click on associate. With this, we can come back here and we're going to have our public IP. If I click over here, I can copy this and just test. And I'm going to do admin. Let's wait a little bit. It's not ready yet. Okay, now it is ready. And as you guys can see, I just put admin, and when it was ready, this pop. And if I click over here, you guys gonna see same all the jobs that you're gonna have on the on-prem is gonna be right here. So everything looks good, and I like what I'm seeing. Now we have this server, a migration server, right? That help us do the replication and everything, right? So now that we are done with the migration, everything is working fine. We're going to come back here, and if we refresh this, we should see that everything looks good, right? Now, I'm going to come to the migration, get started. I'm going to click on my server. I'm going to come to cut over and test and cut over, sorry. And I'm going to finalize the cut over. And it's going to say you are about to finalize cut over for one server. This action cannot be reversed. It will cause all replication data to be discarded and all AWS resources used for data replication to be terminated. So be careful when you click on finalize, because it's going to delete this. It's going to go over all the volumes that we use for replication. It's going to delete all the volumes except the volume used for our Jenkins server, and also is going to delete all the snapshot. So when we come here, we see that the cutover is complete, right? Since the cutover is complete, we can come over here on action, and we're going to mark it as achieved. And we are done with the migration. There's no more server. The migration is done. And don't worry about this EC2 instance. It's going to be deleted. It's going to take few more minutes before getting deleted. So now I can go to my on-premise instance and stop it, because we are already migrated to AWS, right? So I can delete it. We don't need on-premise server anymore. So we don't have it over here anymore. So let's wait a little bit. And let's resume it and see what happened to the migration server, right? If I refresh it, it is gone, it is terminated. The migration server is terminated. And let's check the launch template. There's no more launch template, right? Sorry, launch template, there's no more. Let's check for volume. The only volume we have is the volume for our Jenkins server. So the other volume got deleted and all the snapshot got deleted. So now we have our application that is migrated now, and we can use the AWS server or Jenkins as our new Jenkins server. So this is how we do that. Don't forget that after you do all this, don't forget to delete, right? I'm going to come to the server. I'm going to terminate it so that you don't get charged, because C5.X large is a lot of money, right? You delete the server, you come to the elastic IP, you select the elastic IP and you release it. It said the following address cannot be released because they are associated. Okay, let's deassociate it first. I'm going to deassociate it, then I'm going to select it and I'm going to release it. So I just release my IP address so that AWS will not going to charge me. So with this, I think we are all good. The volume should be deleted, but if you don't want to wait, you can click on it and delete all of them, right? If we come back up, we're going to see that our Jenkins server is terminated. So this is how we do the migration. What I want to say is that this is a good example of how to do the migration, and you can use this project for your job hunt. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.